Hello class, welcome to your midweek video announcement to give you an overview of our final unit. Can you believe we have probably 4 weeks left, give or take, and then it will be the end of the academic year. So I'm so proud of you for making it this far. So as usual, you have to go into our class and go into modules, and you will see that we are in Unit 4. It's the last lap, literary research. So I'll just walk you through very quickly to give you an overview. Our final project is a research essay to help you dig deeper into the novel, I'm Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter. So what you do is you click here and read the prompt. Sometimes downloading takes a little while to read through, and when that happens, all you have to do is then just download it instead. Sometimes Canvas just really takes its time, but right now it's opening up for us. So the instructions are here. I trust that you will read it closely. This prompt has everything you need to know, but certain things that I want to highlight is that you will need at least 3 secondary sources. Secondary sources are the information that you find. Primary source is the novel. That's the primary text that you're using. I do say that you can analyze the novel through a particular literary criticism lens, whether it's psychoanalytic, feminist, gender, or reader response. You saw some Edpuzzles on what these mean. If you have questions, don't hesitate to email me. I find that most students who end up doing research for this novel to get a better sense of it, typically their criticism falls into one of these categories, these schools of literary criticism. Okay, so what are you going to do? You're going to research some aspect that piqued your interest that will give you a better understanding of the book, of the characters. It can be the main character, Julia, or it could be other characters in the novel. Let's see, the objectives are here, the preparation is here, and then the secondary source requirements are all here. The most important thing I want you to remember is that I will not accept your final research essay if you do not submit these benchmark assignments. You need to complete every single one of these in order to submit your final research paper. Number 1, a proposal. Number 2, an annotated bibliography. Number 3, a note-taking template. Number 4, a thesis with a 3-page draft with some tutoring feedback from our Success Center. And then the essay is due. So you need those 4 things in order to submit the final research essay. For the research essay, there is no 2-day extension just because I have such a short turnaround time between the submission and when I have to submit grades for them to show up on your transcript. So there is no automatic 2-day extension on the final essay. And then for final exam week, what you're doing is you're going into a discussion forum and you're posting a video presentation of your digital essay. What that means is just the key points that you found that were most interesting or intriguing, that gave you some depth in analyzing the novel. And it's like a PowerPoint presentation. So I call that a digital essay because you will be sharing the main points of your research essay, and you will include some visuals. Visuals are key. All right, here's the rubric. I'm going to close out of this. The next thing you have to do is submit a research proposal. What is it that you would like to research to know more about? I've listed some possible topics here. So for example, some students want to learn more about the data, statistics, identifying signs of mental health issues in Latina adolescents or ways to intervene and help. So there's one. This falls under psychoanalytic criticism. You might want to research family dynamics in mixed status families. Julia's parents are undocumented, but she is U.S. born, so she's a citizen. So she carries stress about that, especially when it comes time for her to apply to universities. So maybe you're interested in that. Sexism's impact on adolescent girls. Obviously, Julia, Lorena, they're impacted by sexism. Intergenerational trauma, its effects, and how to mitigate it. Some people really want to learn more about grief and better understand how grief is such a foundational aspect of this novel. Every character, her ama, her apa, Julia herself, they're all grieving differently. And there are stages of grief, and there are ways that we can try to ignore grief, but it has an impact on our mental health. So some students want to research that and apply what they learn to the novel. This bullet here about mirror versus window experiences, that refers to reading books in school and learning about stories that either mirror our own life experiences, they resonate with us personally, or window experiences. When we go through our education and learn about stories and characters and situations that do not resonate with us, but they provide a window into someone else's experience. So is I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter a mirror text for you, or a window text for you, or a little bit of both? And why is this kind of novel important in education? And then the last point, creativity as a tool for healing and depression. If you saw the interview with Erica Sanchez, the author, you'll know that she herself has struggled with depression all of her adult life, and it started as a teenager. So I think she wrote a lot of her experience into the character Julia, and she talks candidly about it. So you might want to research how authors, artists, songwriters, filmmakers, all kinds of people use their creativity as a tool for overcoming mental health issues and working toward healing. So anyway, those are just a few examples, but of course, you're not limited to these. Here in your proposal, I want you to write a paragraph telling me what it is you're interested in researching, what you want to know more about. It could be any character, or about the author, or even how the novel has been received in the U.S. since it was published. Okay, so that is the first benchmark assignment. And then I'm going to have you look at some sample literary analysis essays, so you see what the final product should look like. These are on a different novel called Mulberry, but it gives you a sense of what literary analysis research looks like. So I want you to read both of these sample essays, and then you're going to evaluate one of these. You choose essay 1 or essay 2, and you answer the evaluation questions. So as you're evaluating, as you're critiquing a sample essay, you're also learning about what works and doesn't work in an essay. Here I have a handout that will help you find sources through our library databases for the next benchmark assignment, which is the annotated bibliography. The annotated bibliography instructions are here. And then I provide a sample annotated bibliography assignment. Please open it, because so many students lose points simply for not following the format. So when you finish your annotated bibliography, make sure that it is formatted and looks exactly like this. Here's the citation. It's not numbered. There's no bullet. It's just an MLA citation of the source followed by the paragraph evaluating it. And next source, MLA format, followed by the summary and evaluation. And the last source. Okay, so no bullets, no boldface, no numbering, just regular old MLA citation format in alphabetical order. E comes before I, which comes before K. So that's that. That's the annotated bibliography. And as we get deeper into the month of April, you will have a note-taking template to fill out. It looks like this. This is to move you along in your process. Here on the top, I want you to write down the name of the article or the video or the podcast or ebook, whatever, and the authors so that you know who the author is. Over here, I want you to write the quotation that you pulled out from that source that you're going to use in your research paper. And then in the box next to it, I want you to explain what the quote means and how it applies to the novel. Find a quotation from the novel that you can tie into the secondary source information, because you have to have analysis of primary source supported by secondary source. So if you cannot download this template, just come up with your own note-taking template. Basically, what I want to see is the author, the source, quotation you're going to use from it, what you're going to say, and how you're going to tie it into the primary text, the novel, provide a quotation from the novel, and discuss it. And then the next quote, and so on and so forth. Okay, that will get us through April 24th. But then as you get closer to submitting your final, I do want to see that you have a thesis draft and at least 3 full pages typed up, double spaced, of course. It doesn't have to be polished. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to see your work in progress, WIP, work in progress, as a Google Doc, giving me editor rights per usual. And even better if you have comments or notes from a Success Center tutor who has looked over it and given you feedback. So the beauty of this template that I gave you here is that by the time you fill out this template, you pretty much will already have about 3 pages worth of draft. You just need to put them together. Each of these becomes a paragraph, or at least the draft of a paragraph. Okay, so that's a lot of information for now. Remember, I'm an email away. I do have office hours. If you would like to meet in Zoom during my office hours, let me know, and we can set up a specific time to meet. Or you can meet me in person. I'm in my office on campus, 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. on Fridays. Okay, thank you, everybody. Be well.